behind the song of Deathbed. If you listened to the last behind the song for I'm No Angel, you would have had a bit of a backstory about the relationship with me and my father, and the last conversation I really had with him, the last deep conversation I had with him. Deathbed is about him on his deathbed, of course. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what this song is about. It's pretty obviously laid out on the table. What isn't obvious is the story leading up to it. I left after I had that conversation, which I wrote about in I'm No Angel. I went to Argentina, and the moment I arrived, I had missed calls. Cam, Pete has been taken into hospital. Pete, my father. He's been given 4 days left to live. He's on hospice care. I just got there on a 3-week holiday to Argentina. I had a video call with him. My cousin and my uncle went down to see him in the Key West hospital. And I got a call while I was in Argentina, and I basically said my goodbyes to him. However, I prayed if he can be not in pain, I would love to go back and be able to say goodbye to him. It was a big ask to keep him alive for 3 weeks, to be not in pain. But thank God he lasted 3 weeks. That whole time I was praying, like, just I would like to say goodbye. I'd like to be there. Not that I had anything else to say. I just wanted to see him, one last time. And as soon as I landed back in Miami, I jumped in my van. I went straight down to Key West, and I went straight to the hospital. And I got to be there on the last day of his life, the last full day of his life. He lasted, and I walked through the door and I sat down beside him as he was asleep, and the nurse came in and she gently rubbed his chest and said, "Petey, we got a special visitor." And he opened his eyes, looked directly at her and said, "It's Cam." And he didn't see me, and then he said, "He's right there." And then we shared little words, honestly. We just shared a moment. And I prayed, and I held his hand, and I spent about an hour with him there before I thought it's time to leave. And yeah, I told him I was going to come in the following day, and I had a breakfast gig the next day. I was playing at a restaurant in the morning, 8 till 11. So that morning, all gig, I was thinking, I need to get there. I need to get to the airport. And I finished, and I put my stuff in my van. I got out of there. I got to the airport. I got to the hospital. I went via a couple of places to see if anyone else, one of his friends, maybe wanted to say goodbye as well. And then as I walked through the hospital, they made me wait and then check in with all my information to be a guest of the hospital, which I didn't have to do the day before. I don't know why. Anyway, long story short, as I walk up, and I walk with my guitar in hand, because I told him I was going to go and play him some music. I walk in, and the lady at the nurse station asks, "Who are you here to see?" I say, "Pete in that room," literally just as that door closed. And she said, "I'm sorry to let you know, but he's literally this moment passed away. Like as you walked through the door." And his hospice nurse actually came in early as well today, and she's just gone in there. "It seems like you were called here at this exact moment," is what she said to me. But the funny thing is, the day before, and It is a little bit funny, I think. You can make humor out of something dark, and I am from England. We have a dark sense of humor. That the nurse said that I looked like him. The first line of the song, the nurse, she told me that I looked like my father. And I was like, I look like him? He's a very, very sick man. And I know she meant it with a good sentiment, but I was like, really? Well, thanks. And I didn't tell him any things that I said in the song, really. That's just my internal thoughts. It's not like I'm no angel in that sense. More my internal thoughts of what I thought of being there on his deathbed, what that meant to a man that was not there for me during my life. And it's not me going like, polishing my halo, saying, oh, I'm so good. He wasn't there for me, but I was there for him. It's just like the commentary of what it was, how powerful that moment was for me as a personal revelation to see how far I had come, that I could be there on his deathbed. And another thing came from it, that I had to not hold back anymore, not hold back my voice and not hold back my songs and my story, and go full in all on myself. Because there was a part of me, and I'll go on and tell another short story here, that I chose the name Cam Francis because the first gig I got as a solo artist was in Key West. And I didn't want to go by my actual name because it was linked to him. And I had shame of my father. It is what it is. I felt embarrassed. I felt shameful. And he knew that. But the letting go of him and the letting go of that shame that also followed. The last line. As I got set free from my father's death. Him dying actually did set me free. Set me free from chains that I put around myself, that I kept a hold of. This shame, this embarrassment, this dark cloud that was always around me. I could finally let go. And I could live my own life without that. Deathbed. I hope you enjoy it.